My name is Autumn, and today I'll be talking about how media portrays mental illnesses and why that matters. Today, my mom is my audience, and this is her. Okay. So, throughout history, lots of movies have entertained people while portraying mental illnesses. Such movies have had an unrealized effect on the way that we view them. Today, I'd like to talk about one particular movie and how it is portrayed by the media, as well as demonstrating some of the effects that that portrayal has. It is important to understand how a movie portrays mental illnesses and how it can be accurate and inaccurate at the same time. That way we realize when we are having misunderstandings about an illness. So first we should talk about how mental illnesses are diagnosed. So they use this book called the DSM Criteria book, and it's on its 5th update, and it is a manual that lists the characteristics for every mental health disorder. And depending on the disease, there's a specific number of these criteria down the list that you have to meet. It's different for each illness, but it just depends, and it does say, you have to meet so many, otherwise you don't quite qualify as having a certain disease. Stigma behind the diagnoses, is what gives out false information and causes people to misunderstand a disease. So some examples of movies in portraying mental health include A Beautiful Mind, which shows schizophrenia, Girl Interrupted, which is about bipolar depressive disorder, and then there's 2 movies that show dissociative identity disorder. And those are Split and The Ward. And today I'll be focusing on The Ward as my example. So, dissociative identity and The Ward.
Do I bring this into them?
So these are the diagnostic criteria in the DSM for the disorder. The presence of 2 or more distinct identities or personality states. At least 2 of these identities or personality states were currently taking control of the person's behavior. The inability to recall important personal information that is too extensive to be explained by an ordinary forgetfulness. And the disturbance is not due to the direct psychological effects, physiological effects of a substance, i.e. alcohol or other types of medications and drugs, or due to a general medical condition such as seizures. More about the disorder: it's still very controversial in diagnosis and was considered a scientific fad. The movie Sybil is another one that shows the disorder, but is also what people believe to be the cause of this spike in the diagnosis being so popular. Some of the personalities are unaware of the trauma, and some of them aren't. But some skeptics say that the diagnosis criteria lend itself to a PTSD diagnosis because it does involve trauma. And some brain scans can show differences in several parts of the brain to people who truly do have the disorder. So The Ward is a movie that takes place in a mental institution, and Kristen is the main character. Other characters include Iris, Sarah, Emily, Zoe, Tammy, and a disfigured creature or figure named Alice. And beside their names, I've listed the personality, what they do that makes them distinct. Iris is a drawer, Sarah is just really mean and hateful. Emily sings, Zoe is childlike. Tammy doesn't get shown because she is talked about being dead, and then Alice is just this disfigured creature that you figure out who it is later. In the movie, it shows that Kristen burns down a barn, but she has no recollection of her past. She stays in Tammy's old room, and they, as in the characters, experience treatments like electrotherapy and hypnosis. Scenes demonstrate that the disorder is shown in a couple of ways. The doctor asks about her past, but Kristen can't recall. She has no idea throughout the entire movie. She doesn't know how she got into the hospital or anything. The explanation of Alice as a being that was taking over and overpowering them as a group was something that they showed where they were, quote-unquote, killing her. And this shows that there are distinct identities, and that's a criteria. And then the reveal scene also does a really good job of showing the disorder in some form. How Hollywood did, they did accurate and inaccurate portrayals. The level of complexity and understanding the disease was done very accurately. The trauma being a cause was done very well. And showing how different the personalities can be was also a really good, detailed portrayal. They were also inaccurate in portraying, though, because it insisted that therapy is unhelpful. It makes the treatment and the end of the issues seem really easy. It wraps it up too quickly, I think. The killing of the other girls was also something that was not done very well because it's not actually killing them off. They just cease to exist without, missing each other and things like that. And then the meeting of the personalities also doesn't happen. They are only aware of other personalities while they're in therapy if their therapist tells them or somebody tells them that this other identity exists. Without that, they would not know. So to sum it up, Hollywood creates this stigma and also accuracies and inaccuracies. It can give you some good information, it can give you some bad information. Mostly it's just set there to be an entertainment. It is important not to make assumptions due to Hollywood portrayals. And if you're really interested in finding out more about a disease, you should really just look it up. Thank you.